everyone. Welcome to the Arvold Mortgage Podcast. My name is Mike Arvold, and I will be one of the hosts to the show, along with my two friends and co-hosts, Jerrid Boutto and Joe Juliano. The podcast will be covering everything from mortgage and real estate to finance and investing to food and music with the occasional golf topics for yours truly. You pair that up with us having some pretty incredible and influential guests, and that leaves our listeners with one hell of an amazing show. We will have a new episode each week with surprise guests to disrupt the simulation in which we call life. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Juliano.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Let me drop one of these on there. That's right, I'm here.
I love it. And next up, we have the mortgage ninja, Jerrid Boutto. Jerrid, say hello to the people.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Excited to be a part of the podcast. So I'm just going to get it started, man. So let's just talk about the team and like what we do and why we do it. So let's just start with that. Why do we do mortgages?
What is the Arvold Mortgage team?
Sure.
I think that's what you're asking. Well, let's first talk about the logo. The podcast logo, folks. AMP, right?
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, shout out to Leah.
Shout
but
out.
AMP, I mean, it's just so fitting.
Yeah.
AMP, we're doing a podcast.
Yep, we're the Arvold Mortgage team.
Yeah.
But this is the Arvold Mortgage
Podcast.
Podcast.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing of why we're doing it is we've been trying to set this up for a long time, and we just had to make sure that all the dominoes were in
20
place.
years.
20 years, yeah. But
Feels like it some days.
yeah, we just needed to make sure that we locked up the location, and we wanted to really produce a good show instead of just half-assing it, I think. You know what I mean? So, because we don't half-ass it on the Arvold Mortgage team, so why would we half-ass it on the Arvold Mortgage Podcast? So, but shout out to Leah.
Wouldn't make sense.
The logo is sick. It's amazing. So, but yeah, I think to answer your question, Jerrid, what is the Arvold Mortgage team? Why do we do what we do? I think you got to kind of take it back to how we all got into the business and why we got into the business. I've been really big on service my whole life. I really enjoy 6-star service, 5-star service before the Arvold Mortgage team came in, but 5-star service anytime I go to a restaurant, anytime I go to a resort in Mexico, anytime I do a hotel or my family goes anywhere, we look at reviews. And when I first bought my first house in 2009, it was a terrible experience. I'm not going to name drop the loan officer by any means because I don't even know if he's still in the business, but it was
Probably
a
not.
Yeah, it was especially after this last 6 months. But it was a DR Horton build, and I had questions. I was in finance at the time. I was working at a credit union doing second mortgages, and I guess taking it a little bit further back, I went out to Arizona to try to get on the tour, the PGA Tour, and that didn't work out, so I got into finance in Arizona, working at Wells Fargo. Started as a teller, personal banker 1, personal banker 2, and then relocated back to Minnesota and started to work toward getting my Series 7 and 66 to be a financial advisor. Got into the credit union sector because they offer, in my opinion, better service. They're more dedicated to service than just being a number. So I started doing that, and that's when I bought my first house, was around that time. And again, I had questions at night. I knew the process a little bit, but that didn't mean I didn't have questions. My first time buying a house, all of that, and I couldn't get a hold of the guy. I stay up late. I'd be messaging him.
He was a 9 to 5.
He was a 9 to 5er, yeah.
If that.
And it was frustrating. I would try to get in touch with him. I'd hear back a day or two later. And when we closed on the house, I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I can do this better. Without a doubt, I can do this better. And that's when the dream came alive. We can talk later on about how I met Nate and got involved in all of that. But I just came in, and I think my promise to all the clients was, I'm just going to give you 6-star service from beginning to end. I'm going to treat you as family. It's going to be a relationship, not a transactional feeling. And from there, just the best communication, the education from beginning to end, and just 6-star service each and every time. So that's what the Arvold Mortgage team is. And getting you guys, when you guys came on the team, I mean, we can start with Jerrid first, right? Because Jerrid was first to join the team over both of you guys.
Yep.
But Jerrid, I'm going to ask you the same question, right? How did me and you get introduced? Walk me through that to now be on the Arvold Mortgage team and kind of bleeding what we do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Our promise to our clients. So walk me through that.
Yeah, so I'll take it back pretty much to my first purchase as well. Again, won't name that loan officer. She is still in the industry, so we won't name her. But yeah, absolutely didn't know what was happening most times. It was just kind of a weird experience, and we did close, and it was tough. But after that, you had reached out and offered to refinance that property for me, and that's kind of how we started getting to know each other.
But how did we get connected? Not to jump in.
Through Eric Hermanson.
Okay, shout out to Eric.
Yep. So
this wouldn't have happened without you, brother.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, so just some referrals and how that ended up happening. You ended up reaching out to do the refinance on that home, and after that, we kind of started developing a relationship. And when it came time to get pre-approved to buy my second house, that's really when it all kind of started. So it was 2020, rates were low, trying to get pre-approved. Basically, we're kind of working through all the changes that were coming pretty much, weekly with like COVID stuff. And so like the pre-approval amounts were changing, guidelines were changing for like multifamily.
Daily, weekly,
stuff,
for sure.
That's originally what I wanted to purchase, was another multifamily. So that scenario actually went away for me. And so I had to pivot and go into a single family pre-approval, which was fine. And that's essentially what we ended up doing. But during that process, we just started talking a lot, going over different pre-approvals. And of course, it was 2020, so everything was going into multiples. So we actually talked a lot because I was asking for numbers on every house, that I was looking at. Wasn't getting the offers accepted. And it kind of just developed into this... we're talking a lot, and I said, kind of off the cuff one day, I said, should I just come work for you? I was like, I kind of like what you're doing day to day. Like my day to day doing traveling sales, I was selling like boutique patio furniture at like home shows, boat shows, garden shows, fairs and events. And I was all over the place in different parts of the country every week. Was pretty burnt out on that. And so I just kind of pitched that to you, not really thinking anything would ever come of it, but you throw a Hail Mary every once in a while and see what happens, right?
Well, and I think when you first mentioned it, I think me and you both were like, but then we just kept talking business, though.
Right.
It never really blossomed into a further conversation from that initial comment.
Definitely not.
Okay, so keep going. So
and so we finally get into like the underwriting process, and you and I are still chatting pretty much like every couple of days and stuff. And I said, hey man, like I think I'm actually really serious about this. Like, what would it take to become a loan officer and work for you or work on your team? You gave me a list.
I did. I gave him kind of an impossible list, I should say, and I'm sure you got kind of the same thing when you were getting involved in mortgage. But I get people that come to me and ask me, I want to be a mortgage banker. Can like buddies and people that I know and random people.
They see the positive. Like, they only see the reward aspect of it instead of all the hard work that goes into it. They see the tip
of the iceberg.
Yeah.
They see the tip of the iceberg, yeah. And, me on trips with family and things like that. And if he can do it, I can do it, right? But what they don't see is the iceberg that's in the water, right? Sure. That's submerged. Yep. So, again, when Jerrid brought this up to me, I was just like, here's another one, right? Well, sure. Here's another guy or person that's going to, that wants to do what I do, but's not going to take it seriously. So what I did is I gave him this list. And it was a hard list. It was reach out to all the real estate agents that you think that right now, right? Because you had a big list.
Yep.
You knew people, which was great. And I think that's why we initially had that conversation and why I even thought about this could be a good idea. But when I gave him the list, I just said, he ain't going to do it. He's going to be like all the rest where I don't hear back from him. I'll end up following up. He hasn't done anything, and it's just going to go nowhere. So I gave him this list, and I said, good luck. Let me know when you got this done. Call me with any questions. And then we continued with your home purchase. Yep. Yeah, with his home purchase. And I think you closed in December?
November of 2020. Yep.
So November of 2020. So we closed on his loan, and I think after that is when you said to me, well, Mike, now that we're closed, I completed that list.
Yeah.
And I said, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, because no one has ever done it before besides you. So he said yes, and I went through the entire list with him, and he did. He knocked out every single thing. He told me all the agents that he had approached. which ones blew him off, which ones were serious, and it was a big wake-up call.
Oh, for sure.
At that point, right? And
especially when you think you know somebody. I mean, it's a gut check. You know, you want to see Jerrid put in the work, just like anybody that's trying to join the industry. Like, the list is there to help you, like, show, hey, I'm willing to do this, willing to put in the work. But for a lot of people, it's uncomfortable to just pick up the phone and call like 10 agents.
Sure.
Like, hey, I've grabbed a beer with them before, but will they answer your call and tell you a little bit about like what they look for?
And telling them, you know, hey, I'm going to get into this industry with no previous experience, right? So they're taking me not very seriously at all. They're like, well, what do you know about doing loans? Well, not a lot, other than the fact that I've now purchased, you know, a duplex, refinanced it. Now I've gone through the purchase process on another house. I knew that, and that was it. But I'm also researching.
I was gonna say, you also kind of know the wrong way to do it because that's how your first experience was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
but I get to rebound with Mike on the refinance and the second purchase. And so I already knew that I had the service covered. I didn't have the processes down, but with trust, we could get there. And, you know, I obviously am vetting that I'm going to be working with Mike Arvold, right? And so, you know, the household name throughout the nation, right? At least big here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, or in general, right? But some people know who he is. Some people didn't know who he was. And I just had to pitch that. And I'll be honest, as a loan officer now, that initial list, I don't think I work with any of them.
So, and that's what I was going to get into. And it's funny that you bring that up, that I think that if my service to you during your purchase wouldn't have been $6 and you weren't getting the great communication and you weren't seeing what I was truly about,
this would have never
you
blossomed.
You would have never said,
I want to do this.
Maybe I should come work for you. Because what you'd have been like, this is terrible. This guy's awful at his job. Why would I do that? So I think when he finally did that, we closed on the loan. He said he had the checklist done, and he said, what's next? And I said, you start tomorrow. And he was like, well, yes, I'm interested, but let's push it to January 4th. Yeah,
that was like the weekend after New Year's
of 21.
So I had given my my previous employer ample time to replace me. I'd been with them for almost 6 years at that point, and so I feel I owed that to them.
Yeah, obligated for sure.
So yeah, we pushed it out a month, and then we started right away in January of 2021, and you know now it's January of 2023. And a lot has happened in the last 2 years. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it. It was just seeing how someone cares so deeply about what they're doing. And that kickstarted my love for the idea of becoming a loan officer. So, right, if it wouldn't have been for you providing service on that loan, I would have never even considered it. I may have considered becoming like a real estate agent.
Sure.
That was always something that I was interested in doing because I'm investing in real estate. So like obviously there's something happening there, and I'm thinking like, well, if I'm going to be in real estate some facet, what's the next level if I want to get out of what I was doing? So being a loan officer wasn't really the one that stood out. I didn't really know what that was until I'd been through that process. Well, I do like math, I do like numbers, and I do like being able to provide service.
Absolutely.
And you piece that puzzle together just through that those two transactions that we did together.
Yeah, I think it's, and I'm going to hit on this because you mentioned it a little earlier, is that once you started, so Joe, I don't know if you felt this way. When I first got in the industry, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know, and again, I've been doing first mortgages now for 12 years. Before that, I was doing second mortgages for 4 years. Before that, at Wells Fargo for 4 years, right? So during that whole time, when I got into first mortgages, I was thinking, because Nate asked me the same thing, who do you know? I said, I don't know anybody. So I was, LinkedIn, reaching out to agents for coffee, the coffee appointment times. And we'll get to your story in just a second here. But it's funny, when you started, you said, it's funny, Mike, I had this list and none of these guys and gals want to work with me, right? So, and I told him that would happen, right? I said, you have a huge list, just understand that probably that's not going to happen due to your limited time in the industry and all of that. But what I did is I sat with Jerrid for 7 weeks. So this is the Arvold Mortgage Team way. I'm not out hiring, like looking for people. It has to be the right fit, and it just has to happen. Again, with you were a past client. Joe, with you, me and you just randomly connected one day, and it was like love at first sight.
Yep, like two peas in a pod. I literally just texted him that the other day.
That's a trombone, people. I don't know if
that's the wrong audio.
It could be the right.
That's wah, wah,
It could
wah.
be the right one. Oh, is that what it is?
That's womp, womp, womp.
Oh,
yeah.
never mind. Okay, wrong one. But anyway, so again with Jerrid though, I gave him 7 weeks, and he started again January of 21. COVID was just starting. I think we met in the office for a couple, maybe a week, the first week, but then it went straight to my house.
Yep.
And I said, Jerrid, I want you at my house every day, 10, 12 hours a day. We didn't even put a limit on it. It was get here in the morning. Whenever we're done, you can go home, right? And I'm talking 7 weeks of one-on-one with Mike Arvold. That's what it was. And I think after 7 weeks, it started with him over my shoulder, me talking to clients on speaker, working the computer, right? Him over my shoulder asking questions, and we're going by the seat of our pants, right? Yeah. Anything that pops up, we talk about. And then it went from now he's on the computer, I'm over his shoulder still talking to the client. Pretty sure, and then it went to Jerrid's on the phone with the client, right? I'm over his shoulder, and then I would go into the other room. And that was the true test, right? Yeah. And then after 7 weeks, Jerrid said, I'm ready.
I'll never forget this. There was, I don't know if it was the very first application that I did on my own without you, like in the room, but Rach was.
My wife, Rach. Yeah, shout out to Rach.
She's making dinner, and I don't really know her that well yet, but I know she's great, but
she's just judging.
Yes, I felt some judgment, and I'm in the kitchen at the island. She's at the other end of the island prepping some food, and I'm on the phone with, I don't remember who the client was, but she was so understanding. I said, hey, I'm just getting my feet wet here, so like I'm walking through. This is kind of like a scripted thing. It's not going to be as like nuanced as it should be. Just bear with me. And but that pressure from Rach in the room was wild.
Yeah, well, you already felt it from me being in the other room, and then you have my wife who hears me every day. 24/7, right? And but you crushed it.
I did.
You crushed it, man. Yeah, the client had a great experience. But again, that was 7 weeks of sitting with Jerrid from having no experience, just some personal mortgage experience to where he was at after 7 weeks, and he actually got Rookie of the Year. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on for 2021. 2021, his first year in, Rookie of the Year, which is crazy. Everyone in the mortgage industry can understand that. But now Jerrid's here, 2 years in, guy's crushing it. He's a beast. He is the mortgage ninja. Now, without further ado, let's move it over to Joe, right? Joe, tell the people, the listeners, your experience. Because me and you have very similar histories and experiences, and I think that's what made us click so well, right? Yep. So tell the people how you got into the industry, because you're, 12 years?
Yeah, right around there, give or take. But yeah, I started off kind of the same route that you did from like the banking side of it. So I worked as like a teller, vault teller with Wells Fargo. I worked at some other like small private banks, and kind of got like a brief taste of mortgage when I was going through and purchasing my own house. And I really like sales. I like interacting with people. I like being able to talk with them and kind of vibe with them. That's like my favorite part of the job. So then that transitioned into an opportunity to do like compliance with a national relocation company. So a lot of it was talking with like the actual loan officer, not so much the client, but you kind of got to get a vibe from them. Like, this is what they're doing every single day. This is the conversations, they're having with clients. And it really, took it from there for me, where I was like, hey, I really want to explore this a little bit more, and went a broker route early on and kind of got my feet wet there, and the rest is history. I mean, but yeah, in connecting with you, we do a lot of similar processes the same way. And being able to see somebody that's done it and gone a similar route, but, the successes that you've had, and be able to understand, this is how he runs his business, the 6R service, the processes in place, like it's plug and play. I mean, once Jerrid, you kind of were drinking water through a fire hose, getting to sit with somebody that's producing at a high level, to kind of like understand what's going on.
I love that analogy. Because you know why, when you say that, I'm trying to picture someone drinking through a fire hose. And that was literally Jerrid's face at my house.
But I needed that.
Yeah.
I think if I would have sat with, if I would have just been thrown into like the general like bullpen.
Which is a lot of times what happens, though, as a new loan officer. Like, you don't, like, they try and pair you up with somebody, and maybe there's somebody that's trying to grow their own team, but like it only goes to a certain level where sometimes they're not buying into what your business is, and to try and take you to the next level. It's like, hey, I gave you the tools, you kind of figure it out, and a lot of people fizzle out, So the one-on-one, with Mike, and I mean, he takes an amazing application. His communication's great. Like, you're getting to see from the right place, especially if you're seen it from the wrong place, previously in other applications or.
Well, and that's where you, with all past experience and everything, with Jerrid, he didn't know any better. So he came in and it was 6-star all the way. This is how you do it, right?
Yep.
And when he would question things, I'd be like, good question, but no. This is
how we do it.
This is how we do it. It's taken me 12 years to build this process, right? And having you come in, that's what was so crazy. I remember at the first time I met you was with Jerrid.
Yep.
It was at the office.
Yep.
It was at the office, and I didn't even.
This is the first time. No.
Yeah. Right. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hey.
But it was, and it wasn't even an interview. It was more like, hey, I just want to meet you, right? And I remember we just reached out through a mutual business partner, which was great. Shout out to that mutual business partner. We appreciate you. Tyler Miller. I'm going to drop that. Tyler Miller, you are the man. The man.
What's up, Tyler?
The man. You are the man. We appreciate you, man. We're excited to get you on as a guest on this podcast. But thank you for connecting us. It's the stars aligned. And I think Tyler knew it too, because I've been working with Tyler for so long that he called me. He said, I got the guy that would fit the Arvold Mortgage team. And again, when I always make decisions with my team because we're a family, which is why I had Jerrid at that meeting. I said, I want you to meet this guy. I want you to give me your 2 cents. And right in the meeting, I think I looked over at Jerrid and I was like I gave him the nod.
Yeah.
Right?
He actually touched my leg on the table.
This is
he squeezed his leg.
This
and
guy
kicked his foot.
is perfect, right? And it was weird though, man. I was looking in the mirror, and again with Jerrid, I always said that I could never clone myself. It's impossible. Like that.
You're too good looking.
Is it the flow? It's the flow.
It's
So it's in order to grow your business, you're worried about that. You're worried about letting go of the activities that you do because number one, of trust. You don't trust other people. Number two, if you give stuff up to grow your business, your service will decrease. That's usually what happens.
Yeah. Or your income. I mean, because your bread and butter is the deals, the agents you're working with, the clients you're working with. When you give up some of that time to focus on something else, like it's inevitable that you're going to see a dip there. But again, your goal is the outcome is going to far surpass, what you could have done yourself, more coverage. But yeah, I mean, and I've done that myself, even in my career. Like I was a sales manager and I started to focus so much on, I had to build a team around me. And you can find a lot of people that are interested, but they wouldn't have done the 10 things that were on the list for you to do. And then they fizzle out. 6 months in, they're like, hey, I'm not making any money. Like, I got to go find a regular job. And it's like, well, you put in zero effort. That's why we're at this point.
We have those talks.
Oh, yeah.
And we had, and again, shout out to the owner of Refined and my mentor and brother, Nate Reich, because I had those same talks with him throughout my career, and that's where I knew how to have those talks with you. And I knew you'd be great because, you are where I was 6 years in and you're 2 years in. So I knew that you would succeed. I knew you would be great. I just had to help you talk you off that ledge, which was, man,
commissions only.
I didn't take any apps this weekend. I'm stressed out. I don't know where that next deal is coming from. And it was always, we all have had that. Everyone in the mortgage and real estate industry, what I'm talking about.
I felt that way coming off of this weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it still happens to the current day, but I think Mike is very, very positive as well. So like that you got to look for the little wins that you have when you have them. Because if you're looking at it and you're like, hey, I came off this weekend, I didn't have any, accepted offers. Yeah, that sucks. But how many connections did you make? How many people did you talk to?
Or at least you had time with your family, work aside.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a huge. So that's me and my team. The family is optimism, man. It's do not come to me with negativity. Yep. And if you do, pair it up with some positivity to end it, and I'm gonna love you. Right?
We've gotten better at this in recent months, actually.
We have gotten better.
You are like the worst person to come to with negativity because it gets stacked, right? And sometimes you just want to vent, but sometimes a vent session is just too negative, right? And so you've actually gotten me to a place in like my headspace where I know that even if I'm feeling down about a current like file or whatever, I know that with that conversation, you're going to walk me through the negative and you're going to hear me, but then you're going to also help me flip that into a positive turnaround. Like it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a couple of days, but just, keep your eye on the prize. And that's something that in my first year, I struggled with, and just, but at the same time, I guess in my first year, I was so like accepting that it wasn't going to be good because it was my first year.
You're also
So a
out
lot
here-
of those challenges have actually come into like my second year, because I've seen some drastic changes in the market, right? And so now there's actually been a couple more lulls in some of the, like, in my second year going into my third. And yeah, man, I just want to say thank you, because I think if it was anyone else that was leading me, I'd have probably bounced in certain cases.
Hard to say, yeah, but I mean, I brought you in though, and that's what with our team, and I think you know this, and Joe, you know this now. But being on the team for 2 years, we are a family.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like I know Leah very well. We go on double dates, we hang out. I care about your family, and that's how I want our team to be, and even the people behind the scenes, right? You know, we got Riley, Carolyn, Katie, Christy, Carrie, Kelly.
Wow.
Did I say all those right off the bat like that?
thank you. That was impressive.
Rachel.
That was
impressive.
And
They
they're
just
all like C's and K's.
Yeah.
too.
they're also and at the end of the day though, that is our family. When you come and do a loan or give us the opportunity and trust in the Arvold Mortgage team to do your file and work with you and help you get into your new home, you become our family. Yeah. We want to be your mortgage person for life. We want to help your kids when you have kids, if you don't have kids, or with your retirement home, right? That's why we do what we do. And Jerrid, you crushed it, man. I mean, hitting Rookie of the Year your first year in, even though you were the only one in the category, is crucial.
You would bring that back.
Yeah. Either way, not to take
I'm
away
kidding.
from it, I still think that, I mean, that is super impressive. I mean, I've been at companies where I've strived to do that, and you get beat out by somebody that maybe wasn't in the rookie category, but I mean,
there were a lot of rookies.
There were
in
how many?
2022. 20.
There had to have been 5 to 10.
2021. There was at least 10.
Yeah,
because
and-
it was a good year, right? There was a lot of hiring and onboarding
It was.
at that time.
Rates were low. Yeah. But
yeah.
aside from that, you didn't just win that category. You also won the most reviews.
Yeah.
You won 2 categories for your first
back to back.
but for your first year in the business.
yeah, that's huge.
To go on the COE trip and the Circle of Excellence trip that we have where the whole company goes to Mexico or something like that. For Jerrid to win that in his first year in, I didn't win a COE for like 5 years.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years. So I'm telling you, people, if you're not happy, I got to throw this out there. If you're not happy what you're doing and you're in the mortgage industry, because normally Refined Lending does not hire unless you have multiple years of experience, right?
Yeah.
We're not like a Wells Fargo. We're not like a U.S. Bank. We're not like that where you can just come in off the street. We'll train you and you can give it a go, right?
Except for me.
You're the exception to the rule, and that's what I was going to say is that you need to have, for me to even talk to somebody now, you got to have multiple years. You got to show me, because I don't have the time, that I did with you, right? But I will give someone that time
Forever
if they show
grateful.
me. If they show me they have it inside and they
Yep.
can do it, I will give that person the time because I know my process works. Sitting with someone for 7 weeks, giving them my full time will work. It'll turn you into a beast as long as you have the heart like that Jerrid had, right?
Yep.
And Joe, back to when you first started and we were in that it wasn't even an interview.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was more...
It was just kind of feeling
a
each other
meet and
out.
greet.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, like if you're looking to bring somebody onto your team, like you want it to be the right fit. You don't want to add a puzzle piece in if it's going to mess up the system and the process that you already have in place. And from my side of it too, it's like I was kind of looking at different directions on where I wanted to go from my next move. And you're right. You got to kind of align with like-minded individuals that are trying to get to the next level. Like if it didn't make sense for me to go somewhere if my goal was I want to work 9 to 5 every single day. I mean, I haven't done that in 10 years, so that's not the right choice for me. But yeah, I mean, sitting down across, I mean, I felt like I was hanging out with 2 buddies, which is a great feeling. But at the same time,
The 3 amigos.
yeah, it allows us to like bounce ideas off each other. If like Jerrid has something going on with the file or he has a question about something, he can give me a call and vice versa. I mean, I bug Mike all the time just about stuff that's going on. Like,
We
hey,
do talk to each other a lot, don't we?
We do.
Now we
And-
do it in a podcast format. So that's
Yeah.
it's
And I love
interesting.
that. And I think that's with, I've been working from home for 8 years or 7 years or something. But the whole working from home, I love that, right? Because you do what you want to do. You know what you need to do to make a paycheck, right?
Yep.
I don't have to micromanage you, and I am not a micromanager. Our team is not like that,
Mm-hmm.
even though, but we still talk, like Jerrid said, multiple times per day.
Yep.
I know what files Jerrid's working on. I know what files Joe's working on because we share those wins. I know the pain points that Jerrid has on a day-to-day basis, if he has them. I know ones that Joe's having. And they know my pain points. They know my wins. And we use that to feed off each other, right? I want them to hear my wins so that it can pump them up. I want to hear about Jerrid's wins. I want to hear about Joe's wins last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before, where he got 6 offers accepted in a weekend.
Give him a little applause.
Let's make sure it's the right one this time. It's this
yeah,
guy. Thank you.
That amped me up, though. That's what I'm saying. And when I told Jerrid, he got amped up, and that's how our team is. So anyway, let's go back to when we were sitting at that meeting, the meet and greet, right? I knew right away. I looked over at Jerrid, kind of gave him the winky wink, the hand rub on the knee under the table, which was weird because we weren't sitting next to each other. But Joe, what was your sign?
Long arms.
He's got very long arms.
But and this is what I like to know, because we know Jerrid, when he first knew, he got the opportunity that a lot of people wouldn't get and just took off from there. What was your sign that, because you could have just joined Refined Lending and sat in the bullpen, like Jerrid was saying.
Yeah.
But what made you say, I want to be on the Arvold Mortgage team. I feel like that is my next move, and like for good, for life, right?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it came down to like the systems and things you already had in place were things that I was like trying to do individually. If it was the right flow with like an LOA or an assistant.
Now, Joe, don't open up the playbook too much.
No,
man.
but
we don't give that info for free.
But a lot of those things I was already trying to
pay
do.
To play.
That one's going on the Patreon.
Yeah. That was something that I was really trying like to continue to refine from that side of it. No pun intended with the company name, but
shout out.
But also just like being able to vibe with somebody, like you're just saying, like the wins, like there's also downsides. Like there's also negative days where, people aren't getting offers accepted or somebody decided to go with a different lender. And it's like, you need somebody that helps you to like, okay, let's address it and then move past it. You know what I mean? Because it's very easy to dwell on all the negatives because with our market changing, rates going up. Well, and I know you're looking at Jerrid, but it's like you're
womp, womp, womp.
But you're also
Is that trombone?
That is the trombone.
Hit it.
There. But it's one of those things that like with the amount of experience and time to see the wins and find the positives in it, like that was huge for me. You know what I mean? Like stuff's gonna happen, but to get and pivot away from that to go in the right direction. Like let's find this as a win. Let's meet with these agents. Let's do these things with this builder. Like that's what I need to keep my hunger going for more.
And I love it. And I think when Joe mentioned, you did mention this a little bit ago, the plug and play, right? Our team is plug and play.
Yeah.
We could literally take anyone off the streets, give them 7 weeks, and turn them into a beast, right? Joe comes in, tons of experience, right? But our systems that make up the Arvold Mortgage team, we run it very much like the military. It's very one way. This is how we do it. That's how Jerrid does it. That's how Joe does it. And that's how I do it, because then it keeps things consistent. Whether one of our business partners wants to send a deal to Jerrid, to Joe, or to myself, you're going to get the same service. Listing agents, you expect to see a certain level of communication and service when you work with the Arvold Mortgage team. It shouldn't change with which loan officer you're working with on the Arvold Mortgage team. So that's what took me so long to create, and we finally have this perfect system, and it's working. Yep. It really is. We're getting, we let our clients do the talking for us. Look at Jerrid's reviews. Look at my reviews. Look
I was just going to say
Joe's.
that. Think of like your first year in, and you exceeded like the reviews expectation from probably other people that have been at Refined with a lot more years of experience. So, it's kind of a testament to you, how you do things, but also a testament to like how you were taught from a business standpoint. Because really, at the end of the day, what matters to us is making sure that we're taking care of our clients and referral partners. It's not like I just need to turn and burn this deal and move on to the next deal. That's not the way that we're set up. That's not the way that all of us individually function.
Our entire team is not transactional based. It's long-lasting relationships, friendships, and we just want to be here for everybody through it all.
And you know what's great? I remember this point in my career, and I'm going to ask you guys if you guys remember this. And I know you will. I don't know, Joe. You might have to think back a little bit, okay? So get that thinking cap on. So I remember when Jerrid would come to me frustrated with certain clients, okay? And he'd say, this client. So whatever the issue was, right? Whatever the stress levels that they were causing Jerrid at the time. And I would say, Jerrid, tell him it's not a good fit. Just tell him you can't help them. It's because some people you just can't help, right? And I said, tell him you can't. And he goes, I need every deal. And he's in his first year, first 2 years, and he did. And I think the first time that I told somebody no, again, I'm going to shout out Tyler Miller again, because he's the one that told me, Mike, the first time that you tell someone no, you're going to feel great. Just the stress levels, like everything's going to fall off of you. And I remember I told Jerrid that, and I want to say that you told a client no the first year, within the first year.
6 months.
It was 6 months. And it took me, though, 7-8 years. So I literally was a yes man, doing everything I had to do, taking the blunt of frustrations and all that, because the lending side ain't no joke. It's, we're digging into your financial everything. Yeah. We're digging into what makes you and what makes you tick of all your finances, and it can get frustrating and stressful. So I think it took me 7 years in. I told somebody no. I couldn't do it.
It doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen often.
It felt good.
It does.
And it was definitely warranted. There was nothing I could do. I wasn't getting through to them. It didn't make sense.
Right. And so every person in any industry, though, whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a financial advisor, whether you're a CPA, whether you're whatever you do, you're going to have to tell a client no at some point. So I'd love to hear some people's stories of when you first told your client no. But Jerrid, I know when yours was. Yep. I know when mine was. Joe, what about you? Do you remember that time?
I do, and mine actually wasn't a client. It was more like an agent specifically. Like
interesting.
I mean, kind of along the same lines. Like, there's certain things that can get asked of us in what we do, and we were joking about it earlier today before we even started doing this. Like, we manage chaos. Like, some days that's what it feels like. There are things blowing up, and sometimes like what's expected or asked. Like, if it's not gonna line up with like what our mission statement is or what our goals are for clients and our service level, it's okay to say no. Like, hey, I don't think this is the right fit. Kind of the same thing with like sitting down with the two of you. I could have came in and been totally different than how I am and went a different route with it. And you might have looked at each other and been like, no, this isn't the guy.
Jerrid wouldn't have gotten the leg touch.
Yeah. Nope. But it's one of those things, like it's okay to say no, just the same way that, clients, they choose other places for whatever their reasons are.
Absolutely.
It happens. But at the same time, you got to be okay with, I said no for this reason, you stick by it, and you're going to grow as a business and as an individual, doing that.
And Mike, I want to bring up the fact that not everyone that we've ever brought in has worked, right?
True.
But like that's to go back to what Joe was saying about, he could have been different than what he came off in the interview. I think we have a good read on people generally.
Now,
so,
we do now because of I think we put up walls though.
Sure.
After like when we bring people in, I think it's hard because I give everything. My wife gives everything. The team, the family gives everything to each person, and we try to make them feel so comfortable and provide them with an allowance to get clothing, branded clothing, all this stuff. So I think when something doesn't work out, I take it way more personal. Not angry. I just take it as like I lost a brother or I lost a sister or a really close friend. And I think that's what put walls up. So, it's like guarded. Like when you get out of a relationship, like when you're dating somebody, if you're a teenager or something, you're dating somebody and they break your heart, now you put walls up for that next person in line, right? And you feel bad for that person because they're going to have to climb over these walls. Yep. But that's how we knew that you were going to be the perfect fit, because even at that meeting, it was like everything. The way Joe talked, the way he handled it, he's so mellow, right? And I'm very much in your face. That's how I am. Joe's mellow like Jerrid, and I think just his personality, dude, his hats off to you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
His what?
His looks.
His looks alone. He had the job when he walked in, but yet he didn't know.
Away.
Yeah. I was just trying to get my leg touched under the table. That's what it was.
It's happening. It's happening.
It's happening right now. So I love to hear that, though, you guys. I love to hear those stories. Let's jump in. Should we switch directions a little bit?
Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we could talk about hobbies. What do we like to do outside?
Let's talk about hobbies. Yeah, I want to get off the mortgage train a little bit and jump on to more like...
Got so many more episodes to talk about mortgages.
Man.
Let's not do that for a second.
And we're going to, people. There's going to be, investing, commercial stuff. Whatever you want to know about that you want us to do a podcast about, shoot us a message, right? Comment in here. Let us know what you want us to talk about or answer any questions. But hobbies, I love it.
I want Joe to start with hobbies. I want to know Joe's hobbies.
My hobbies. Okay. Well, so I'm married and I have 3 daughters, and they fill up 99% of my time.
Shout
it
out
feels
to Cole.
like
You're amazing.
yeah. So we I mean that's I mean again that's my why for why I do this, but that's also when I have time or the flexibility in our line of work, like I love filling it with their stuff. I was at a volleyball tournament this past weekend. Was at
What
state.
position do you play?
I don't play. I play the
Water
bench.
boy.
Water boy.
But my
Good one.
my
Zinger.
daughter is she's competitive and plays traveling volleyball. My middle daughter, she was at state for cheer. So it's filling time with those things. I mean, I like traveling. I like hanging out with my wife, going to restaurants and that kind of stuff when we have the time.
So if I need a sub for, don't say it, people, not cheer for volleyball, I can call on your daughter to come fill in.
Absolutely. I mean, I taught her everything she knows. So I mean,
Joe.
the beach volleyball, I got it down.
Joe is lying to us right now. Do you play?
Absolutely.
You do play.
Absolutely.
So if I need a sub, you can come fill in.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's
Give us a
go.
bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Actually, I just nailed that, so we don't need to do it again.
Yeah. Is that the one? I don't know. That could be the one.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think that was
That's
it.
Yeah, well done. So keep going. So
That's
your why.
My
Family's
why,
important.
the family is super important. I love golfing, and in the winter, I like trying to get
I love
out.
Lamp.
Yeah. I'm just naming things in the room.
yes. Are you a gamer?
I do. I play video games. That's kind of what I do once the kids and wife are sleeping. That's kind of where I zone out and decompress. And
What's your go-to game?
Playing games with my heart.
yeah,
Joe.
I play like Call of Duty, like a lot of people. I play Apex Legends is a game I play too. So
What is that?
It's
I know what Call of Duty
it's
is.
kind of
'cause
it's
I'm
a
big
battle
Call
it's
of
a
Duty guy.
battle royal
Okay.
like style game. But yeah, I play on a PC. So
All right,
kind of my
he's a
nerding out.
professional. So anybody out there, if you're
Yeah.
gaming too, I mean, I could throw out so many names: Blake Geyer, Tyler Miller, Taylor Keeley. If you guys want to get destroyed,
Yeah.
Joe will drop his gamer tag.
Yep.
And we can all link up because
we can connect.
we know the only game I play when it comes to gaming is golf. Because it relaxes me. Those shoot 'em up games, y'all are crazy because when I get done working a 15 to 17 hour day, I'm trying to de-stress a little bit. And when I jump on one of those games and it's cool because I can talk to my buddies.
Yep.
I love that aspect. But
Your mind's
when I
gone.
first pop up and I'm good at one player shoot 'em up games, but when I jump in this and I get smoked right away
Yeah.
from a sniper 900 miles away, right? And then I go into this room and I gotta get out and I die in that. Now I'm just sitting waiting and I'm stressed out. So it doesn't work for me. But anybody, I know these guys will connect with you on some Warzone for sure.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we heard about Joe. We're going to you. We're switching this up and we're going to talk to Jerrid. Hobbies. What is your why? What are your hobbies? What do you do when you're not talking mortgage?
Yeah. So I definitely do the job to definitely be a service to people in the community. I definitely believe in where I live and everything. So there's a lot there.
Where do you live?
I live in Minneapolis.
What's your exact address?
Does your mom have an address too?
That's dirty. That is not appropriate for this, and
No.
Marilyn would be very upset.
Yeah. But she does have an address.
She does have an
It's
address.
just not where Jared's located.
Jerrid and my mom got very close in Mexico
Your
for
mom
our
was
last Circle of
Shout out
Excellence
Marilyn.
trip. I brought my mom. She's had a rough year, but yeah, shout out to Marilyn.
Yeah.
You're an angel. And
Shout out Crossroads Delicatessen.
yep,
That place rules.
it does rule. And but anyway, like I said, Jerrid and my mom got to know each other really well, and we had a great time.
It was a great time.
All right, keep going.
Yeah, so that's I do that because I believe in the community and I want to be able to provide that level of service. I also do it for myself, right? Obviously, like I want to be able to travel, provide for Leah and I, so that we can continue to do the things that we want to do.
Which is what? Get to the point.
we love traveling.
All right.
We love eating food, so we're always looking for new restaurants to try, and then just being able to travel at our leisure, right?
I have a question because I think we're all foodies.
yeah, where are we?
which
eating?
is why I really wanted to make this podcast also about food because we do love a good sandwich or soup or we love a lot of
Let's
food.
just figure it out right
But my
now. Where are
question,
we going
my
after
question to you though is how was the sushi restaurant at the Mall of America? Wasn't that new one?
this? The revolving one?
Yeah,
Oh.
that new one that just came out.
It's not that good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all
I
right.
appreciate you being honest about that because we were thinking about going there, and I said, Rach, I don't think Jerrid enjoyed it.
No.
Not to say that we have the same taste in food.
It could have been an off night, but at least the experience that you had.
It was later in the evening, and this is a chain across the United States, so I've been to the one in San Diego and the one in Schaumburg, Illinois, and those are really good. But again, it's more of an experience versus like the actual food.
Yeah.
So you're gonna drop on the food a little bit for the experience. So like if you're really looking for good sushi, we're actually in walking distance to like one of the better sushi spots in
Which
the
is
city.
what?
Karo no Mise or Billy Sushi.
Yeah.
Both of those are really good. But you're paying for it.
Yep.
But the experience that you get there is a very different experience than you'd get at a sushi train like revolving just on conveyor belts. That's
I don't
more
like
just,
that.
An experience. It's a cool experience.
See,
but
I
it's not
think
that
I
great.
would grab too many things. Kind of like my first
It
time
happens.
at like Fogo de Chao. I never flipped the coin back over, and
Yeah.
I was like just pounding meat.
Shout out to my buddy Scott. We actually did a loan
Pounding
for him
meat.
back in 2021. We go to Sushi Train and he gets 20 plates of food. 20 plates of food. Usually at a sushi train it's like 7 to 10.
Yeah.
He does 20.
Yeah, that's
High bill.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Very
Bringing it
high
up, you just brought up Fogo de Chao.
Yeah.
We just went to the one in Maple Grove for my niece's birthday.
It's like Rodizio or something.
Rodizio, and not impressed.
No.
You know the bill for three of us, like $270 or something like that, right, with some drinks and things like that. But I think the best thing that I had was the pineapple on the skewer, the hot pineapple.
Really?
Yeah.
It's messed up to say that. But
It is
I
good,
just,
though.
I
It is
just,
good.
I miss Fogo. I've had a lot of good experiences at Fogo. We'll have to go back there, but Rodizio, you do not have it for me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, the last hobby, it's music, right? So
We got to talk about music.
Yeah.
So I'm in a band called Show Me Your Hits. We are a cover band, and we play a lot of shows. I think we have like 50 contracted for 2023.
Big 5-0.
Yeah,
It's
so
amazing how he has the time to do this, people. When I work him
I burn the wick
like
at
a
both
workhorse.
ends.
Yeah.
I do.
You do.
Yeah, so like we'll be. We played on Saturday. I sent a pre-approval on Saturday while I was in the hotel room. So yeah,
I can just picture
we work-
Jerrid just playing the standby. He just
stop,
has it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
stop the
yeah.
song. No.
Yeah.
Luckily, I get breaks every hour, so I can usually pop an email off between that break. But yeah, so do the band. We play a lot of shows. We play a lot of different variety music. Anything from Journey to Blink-182 to Shania Twain to Rascal Flatts. I mean, it's all over the place.
love it.
It's all over the place.
So
man.
when did you get into music? Is this something that
20
you
years
just
ago.
20 years ago?
Yep.
How did so what 20 years ago you were what? You walked into a music store and they had
No,
some
I
drums,
just-
or you were out banging on
My
some
mom
pots and
is
pans,
a
or
big
what?
music listener.
Okay.
And so just growing up, being around the house, like, on a weekend we're cleaning the house, music's on. And I just felt connected to it very rhythmically, hence why I'm a drummer, right?
Yeah.
So from a rhythmic standpoint, it just spoke to me. And I didn't actually get to play drums straight away. I played bass guitar for about 3 years prior to getting my first
Were
drum
you
set.
slapping it?
It was a little slapper.
Just
Slapping the
slapping
bass?
the
No,
bass?
I was a pick player. I can't claim that I can slap the bass. But yeah, so one of my buddies actually was a bass player too. We vibed, and he's like, "We should start a band." And I was like, "Well, bands can't have two bassists, bro." And so I actually
could.
I went and sold all my gear and went and bought my first drum set and never looked back. And so I've been playing drums for about 20 years now.
You must have pulled the short straw.
Financially,
Why did you have to
Yeah.
switch?
he was
from
better? No,
slapping
he
the
was
bass?
better.
He was
Oh, he was
better,
better.
yeah.
He was
Fair enough.
younger than me and better than me, and I was like, dude, I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Sure.
And it's drums.
So
And,
where can people find you? I hate to cut you off on this,
Yeah.
but where can people find you?
showmeyourhitsband.com,
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram. We're playing shows almost every weekend, and yeah, it's going to be a good year. There's a lot of shows to be played.
Well, I'll tell you guys out there, all you listeners, that I've been to a few of Jerrid's shows, and the first one I went to, I was skeptical because normally when people tell you I'm in a band, you're like
It's never good.
rarely,
Yeah.
rarely. You're part of the 1%. But when I went with my wife, and I was like, holy shit. Like, they're fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because Jerrid's part of the
thanks.
family, but
Yeah.
dude, they rock. They really do. I've had a great experience every time I've went. It's just a great show. Have you gone yet?
I have
Joe?
not. I haven't had
All
the
right, we got to
privilege
get
yet.
you. Yeah, we got to get you out
There's
there.
some good opportunities coming up, Joe, where I think you'd be able to make that commute. It's not too
Absolutely.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys kind of play all over too. I mean, you were just in Austin, right? This past weekend, is that what you said?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, that was hour and a half south.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in a week or so. And what are we doing here? January 30th. So yeah, like early February. I think we're up in like Anoka.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Well, then we go down to like Treasure Island. Yeah.
And
we're
what
all
would,
over
for
the
like the
place.
listeners, like what would you compare this like show me your hits band style, like obviously with the music that you play being a cover, like I mean this is more like passion and just having fun, right?
Yeah.
Because you've also, I mean, metal primarily was
Yes.
your kind of go-to.
Yeah, come from a metal background. So the question you're looking for is just what are we
Yeah, like
similar
what?
to?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's a cover band, but I think we just have an edge on other bands just from being from more of an intense music background.
yeah,
So I think our energy level is a little bit stronger than other bands from a live perspective.
Yeah.
So the way I've always like kind of described us as a cover band is we're like a real band that happens to play covers,
cover. Yeah,
right?
okay.
I
So
like
like
that.
it's the way we deliver it. It's
Yeah.
like it could be our song. I just happen to not write
right.
it.
Yeah,
It's your mission
But we
statement
also
for the
do
band.
an like homage to all these bands. Like
Yeah.
we play them verbatim. We don't key them down. That's not going to be overly important to the average listener.
Yeah.
But other musicians, it is.
Yeah.
And so we do play everything in the original key to the studio recordings. And so that's been something that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
That I dissect the songs truly. And as a drummer, there's a lot of you can get around things a little bit with drums. You don't have to be perfect.
yeah,
Not in the sense of being on time, but just like the fills, some of the nuance, like the cadence, like you can get away with it. Like there's a pocket beat that'll pretty much encompass like every song.
Yeah.
But if you actually truly want to know the song and learn it, there's that approach. And
Yeah.
that is the approach that I take to every song that we play. So I get as close to verbatim as possible.
yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're incredible.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to see more.
doing it a
I
lot.
want to see more stick spins and crazy acrobatic stuff, but we'll work on that.
Yep.
When I come to your show, you do it for me though. I see you doing it. I always get that photo of you like this. It's fantastic. We'll post one later.
All right, Mike.
Hobbies.
Hobbies.
My family's everything. I work from home, which I love because I get to be around my wife and two kids all the time. They're amazing. We travel. Traveling is a big one for me. I'm not a winter person. I lived in Arizona for 5 years, like I said earlier in this podcast, but I love being on the beach. I love golfing year-round. So I think in the winter, it's traveling. I get out of here. I try to go, to Mexico, Jamaica, stuff like that a couple times a year. Just take the wife and get to the beach. But she's a mountain person. So we differ a little bit there. She loves hiking. She loves Colorado. She loves, Utah, stuff like that with big mountains.
PNW. Pacific Northwest.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
100%. Yeah, well played, yeah. But so I think that's where we differ a little bit, but there's happy mediums, like you said.
Right.
We can go out to Cali and go north, and it's great, right? We can go to Scottsdale, Arizona, and you go 2 hours north, and you get up to Sedona and all that. It's fantastic, right? So I love traveling, but also golf. Golf is my number one thing. Anytime that I can get out and play some golf, I do it. I just had foot surgery on both my feet for arthritis, which happened this year and end of last year. Both end of last year, sorry, to get them in on the same insurance year. But the feet are feeling better, so I'm excited to see how it affects
Will
my
it
golf
improve
game.
your game?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
Well, you
really
also-
do.
You had it at the right time though, because I feel like it was colder. I mean, you weren't necessarily. I mean, unless you're traveling to go golf,
Right.
you weren't like out there in the heat of it. So
It was time.
kind of like a professional athlete. Like you're having it done in the downtime, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden the spring's going to come, and you'll get back out there.
It needed to happen. My feet have been hurting for like
Yeah.
5-6 years, so I'm glad I got it done. But at the end of the day, I mean, me, the wife, and the kids, we love going to movies. We're huge movie people, right? So anytime a movie comes out, we love doing that and grabbing some popcorn and relaxing and watching a movie. But I mean, anything I can do with the family is I'm happy, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, traveling,
mixing
golf,
a beach and
hanging out with my family.
yeah.
It's my why. My why is my
Yeah.
family, just like Joe, just like Jerrid, and it allows us.
We have a lot of
to do the
connections
things.
there. I just think we have our little nuances within that are just a little
We
different.
do.
Yeah.
But I think our mission statement stands true throughout the team. We do it for others, right?
We do. Yeah, and it's 6-star communication. excellent communication and education from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I think
we've got a few
minus the headphones that I forgot.
Right.
My bad.
So we've got a couple minutes left on the podcast here, so I think we should wrap it up. What do you guys think? Proudest moment as a LO?
I like proudest moment.
So I think
Let's start with Jerrid.
No.
My brain's processing. I'm like, I know what mine is, and then he's like, and we'll go with Jerrid over here.
Let me start. I have one fresh in my head.
Let's go.
Right. So I'm working with some clients right now, and I will say that this file is probably the hardest file I've ever worked on. And what I mean by hard is lots of moving parts, lots of hurdles, right? Just to pre-approve them. No other bank in Minnesota that they've talked to, I mean, they talked to over 10 banks. No one could pre-approve them for their new build that they're trying to do. It took me 3.5 to 4 weeks, right, of getting all their documentation, putting together a plan, and we got them pre-approved. And for me, that was one of my biggest wins in my career, hands down. Mm-hmm. And the ability to create the relationship with them, like you said, that's the Arvold Mortgage team. We're about the relationship. They are such amazing people that they felt the same way. So it's just gaining friends out of it on top of being able to help them. That's why I do what I do. Yeah. And they know that, and it's a true connection.
I mean, we could do so much, like with how many files like that we close and stuff. There's always just that one that stands out, and there's so many that stand out too.
And I feel like they'll get replaced too by other ones that we run into. You know what I mean? Because every client, every situation is slightly different, but I mean, you could probably find other ones that you're like, hey, this was an amazing like feat from a career standpoint. If it was a financial goal,
did you say feat because of my feet?
Yes.
And I have arthritis?
Yep.
Okay, pun intended.
Yeah, pun intended, and he doesn't have two walking boots on this time.
Well played, Joe. Okay, so
Joe.
back to, are we going to Joe?
Yeah, let's go to Joe.
Let's go to Joe. Joe, what is the proudest moment? Is that what we're saying?
Proudest moment?
Proudest moment as a loan officer.
I think being able to
join the Arvold Mortgage team.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Let's give it the applause.
That's it. That's the end of the episode.
All right, and we're done.
That's how we know, because we can finish each other's sentences.
Yes.
That Tom Cruise skit is
so
good.
Yeah, it's great.
But in all seriousness,
are you gonna finish?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay,
for me, I think it was being able to have my wife stay at home with our kids. She was pregnant. We were having our third daughter, and her not having to go back to working 12-hour like days in the medical like clinic that she was working at was huge. I mean, to be able to provide from that side of it and give her some, well-deserved and needed time to be with our kids, that was it for me. I mean, I could die a happy man after that.
I mean, that's incredible, and he straight smoked my best moment.
Yeah.
Just that
I mean, it wasn't hard. I mean, I've been keeping.
I'm sure I had to, but dude.
Yeah.
Cole, you're a lucky lady.
What? Like,
you're a lucky lady.
I like Joe's. It's very real, and there's a lot of passion behind it. Like, I think the one that I'm about to share, it's a little trivial, but it's a proud moment. It's something that I never thought was going to happen for me, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. But it isn't as passionate as Joe's here. But I got to be on that billboard, and that was something that just wasn't expecting.
I've never been on a billboard, and I've been in the business 12 years doing first mortgage.
I've never been on a billboard.
So here's why I'm going to call it my proudest moment is because of how my mom reacted.
That's huge.
Hey.
That's huge.
So she was like, I can't believe my son's going to be on a billboard. This is so crazy. I'm going to tell everyone about it. I can't wait to go drive by it and see it. And we got to do it. We really got to do it. We one day, me and Leah went and got some poke and went and sat in front of it and like had dinner and like sat there and was like, how crazy is this?
That's amazing.
He's like,
how
kept
crazy
taking a lot of,
and it was on a rotation because it was a digital board. And so like every 15 seconds, I'm like, but no, like I got to take her to it, my mom to it, and she was just like, I can't believe it. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
She was really nervous for me to become a loan officer because she knew that I was fine where I was, but I was burnt.
Yeah.
Right. And like the money was always going to probably stay similar.
Yep.
It wasn't a success for growth. My ceiling, I was at the ceiling there.
Yeah.
And so I took this
career change,
huge leap of faith to come and be a loan officer. And so when she got to kind of start seeing a couple of these moments for me happen, she was so proud.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same reason I brought my mom on the Circle of Excellence trip, right? Is to see her son win some awards.
Mom's on 3?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Moms.
High five.
But yeah, that to me though, that's why I did it, right? Is seeing my mom's face, even though I caused her and my dad so much stress as a kid, as my teenage years. We can talk about that on another episode. But just seeing her face at the event, meeting Jerrid, meeting Leah and all that, meeting Nate, and it just seeing that happiness on her face, saying, "My son made it for what I did and what I put her through. He came out of it and did it and did a great job." So, but I think we're getting pretty close to our hour. We don't want to go over it too much, especially for the first episode.
Do we want to get anything mortgage related in, or
should
we save it for another episode?
I will say this. We'll make it really quick, right? We wanted to talk about LLPAs, right? Loan level price adjustments, okay? There's some big changes coming, and basically, what is an LLPA? What is a loan level price adjustment? Think of it as a tax.
Risk-based pricing.
Yeah, think of it as a tax, though. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two governing bodies that insure conventional financing in the United States, think of it as a tax that they charge to cushion themselves, to make a little extra bread, right? Yep. And it's not mortgage companies doing it. It's coming on the governmental level by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So what's happening is there's a big change coming. When is it coming, Jerrid?
For any loans delivered after May.
It's supposed to be May 1st.
It's May 1st.
Yeah.
It's May 1st coming. However, mortgage companies are going to roll it out, I feel, coming March 1st. I think we're just going to see it a lot sooner. However, there's some good, there's some bad,
Which
and
it
there's
makes
some
sense
ugly.
for them to roll it out a little bit earlier because, that's kind of what we just dealt with previously. For those that weren't looking at buying like a second home, you were getting the same pricing as somebody that was purchasing like an investment property. And that was different where a lot of people were getting, similar to first mortgage, like primary home purchase rates when they were buying a second home.
Yeah. Good point too, Joe. And what we're going to do is if you guys can put a chart up, I would love to put a chart up on this podcast to show you guys kind of where the good, where the bad, where the ugly is coming with these LLPAs. But again, people, the moral of the story is if you're trying to buy a house, aside from the market being absolutely crazy and getting more crazier by the day, leaning toward the seller's market, right? We're going to see multiple offers like last year, people. You need to understand that we're already there right now.
Yeah.
Inventory is limited. It's going to be switching heavily into where we were last year. Mark my words. So if you're looking to buy a house or you're currently pre-approved, get it done ASAP, right? Arvold Mortgage Team tip, right? Yes. Knowledge is power. That is your tidbit of knowledge. But hey, LLPAs, so the good. Let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly with the LLPAs. So the good is for improvements, it looks like under 680 credit scores, the LLPAs are lowering. So what that means is that you're going to see a little bit better pricing for those credit scores under 680. Pricing also appears slightly improved for 25 to 30% down payments, which is great. So the more you put down, the better your file is going to be. Like that?
Yeah, I'm going to give that applause.
I like that.
If you look at the average credit score that you deal with, like you may have somebody or a lot of your clients are above 740, may affect them differently, but a lot of first-time home buyers and even some step-up home buyers, like this might be a big win for them to have better pricing.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think the biggest win, this is one of the best ones that we've been waiting for a long time, is on investment properties. We're going to see the LLPAs on investment properties lower for files with 30% down or more finally, right? So granted, you do got to still bring some money to the table, but if you're buying an investment property, 20%, 30%, get over that 30% and you're going to see some really nice improvements there. So
I'd like to bring one up.
Bring one up.
I think the best thing that we're seeing is for anyone that is either at or below 100% AMI, which means area median income, Fannie and Freddie are waiving all LLPAs.
They are.
So that's huge.
Home
right?
Ready, Home Possible.
Home Ready, Home
Some
Possible.
of the best programs out there right now. And again, these
But
are
they changed it 'cause
3%
it
down
used to
programs.
be under 80, but now it's at or
Correct.
or below 100.
Yep.
So a lot more people are going to fit that mold.
They are.
So if we can give pricing with no LLPAs,
It's huge.
that's the best pricing you're going to get.
Yeah,
And
reach
so
out to us if you guys have questions on what Jerrid's saying. What is Home
This
Possible?
one
What's
goes
Home
out
Ready?
to all real estate agents. All of your buyers should be contacting us to be pre-approved with us because we are actually paying attention to these adjustments, and we do honor the adjustments because not every bank does, because they can pick and choose to deliver on the LLPAs, right? So not every bank is going to offer Home Ready and Home Possible, right? Because they can choose because they might need to cover expenses, right?
Of course.
So they don't always offer them.
Yeah.
But we do, and so we have the ability to look at that program for buyers.
Yeah, and good point there, Jerrid. anybody out there looking to buy, give us a call. It's free.
Yeah.
The conversation's free, and we'll win you over just with the experience. So, and the pricing and everything.
And Mike's
so,
good looks.
Hey. So here's the bad. Okay, let's get back to it, right? Some of the bad that you're going to see with these LLPAs is, here it comes, I know. 740 is no longer the top tier for credit. They have adjustments for 760 and 780 now. So not necessarily anything over 740, you get the best pricing. Now the higher up that you are, you're going to actually see some more benefit in that. LLPAs are all higher for 680 plus credit scores, which is kind of sad. But I think what the reason for these LLPAs and why they're making this change is to help people that aren't A-plus paper, right? And what I mean by A-plus paper is 780, 800 credit score, down payment, 20% down, all of that. We're trying to help out the people that are under 700 credit score that maybe only have 5-10% down that are looking to buy a house, because the market right now is so crazy that a lot of the people are struggling to get into their primary houses. So the government's stepping in. They're trying to help out a little bit for people that don't have all their ducks in a row, essentially. So also, pricing is worse now at 90 and 80 for 85 and 95% loan to values. So higher costs for putting more down. So again, it's not going to always hurt you for just putting the minimum down. Right. Keep the cash. Cash is king. Say it with your chest. Cash is king. Yes, I love it. It's my motto. And then there's also a separate LLPA chart for rate and term refinance versus purchase where there wasn't before. So pricing right now is the same for a rate and term refinance, and that's where you're taking less than $2,000 cash out at the closing table and doing a purchase. Starting March, April, May, something like that, you're going to see separate LLPA charts for that. Now, I know we're kind of running out of time here, but I want to get into the ugly. I know, I'm sorry. Cash out refinances look brutal. And when I say brutal, I mean during COVID, when they came out and changed the LLPAs for second homes, brutal like that. Second homes used to be looked at and priced at the same as primary residences. Not anymore, right? And that happened during COVID. This is going to start happening with cash out refinances.
And I want to say that pricing hit during COVID was like 50 to 75 basis points. Wasn't it like along that line? And
it was brutal. Well, they started treating second homes as investment properties. Right. Those interest rates look the exact same. So what I'm trying to tell all the listeners out there, if you're looking at consolidating some debt, if you want to do some home remodeling or something like that, and you have a lot of equity in your home and you're looking to take out some cash, now is the time. Give us a call. We would love to help run numbers for you, but do it now. You're going to thank me later because pricing is going to go up. Just know that that's coming.
No time like the present.
No time. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. I love it. And then the worst change that we see is adjustments for aside from cash out refinances, debt to income ratios over 40%. That's going to be a big change in my opinion because
tough one.
It's a tough one, right? So obviously we have ways around that. You can pay off some debt to get that debt to income ratio lowered. But the biggest changes we see, again, cash out refinances, DTI over 40. But there's also some good things. Insurance? No changes. You can do upfront mortgage insurance. Yeah, there's options. We have
plenty of options.
Yeah, we can definitely,
But this is just like a brief taste of like what we try and go through with our clients to make sure you're aware of, what options you have as well as what we might see changing in the immediate future, to make sure that you're best prepared, when you're going out there and when you give a pre-approval letter that has, our names on it or the team's name listed on there, like, that you're buying with confidence. And that's kind of what our goal is.
100%. And we're going to end it with that. I mean, we don't want to go too much longer, obviously, but for all you listeners out there, reach out to us. I mean, if you want us to talk about a certain aspect, maybe get into LLPAs a little bit more, or if you want us to talk about what is a debt to income ratio, what is a loan to value, right? We can cover the basics, but we need help from all of you. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about in regards to the mortgage industry, maybe investment properties, commercial investing. What is the best way? What do we do for investing? Because we can get into that on another episode as well, but this is the first episode in the books.
It's the first. That's a wrap.
Yep. AMP. Arvold Mortgage Podcast.
Check
it out. The logo's sick. Shout out to Leah. But thank you all for listening. Guys, thank you for doing this podcast together. I've been wanting to do it for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys have too.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys. But we're going to sign off.
That's
Arvold Mortgage Podcast, episode 1 in the books.
Let's go.
Peace.